and I'll anchor this event. Welcome to the Africa culture. Welcome to the roadmap to electing Nigerian's first female governor in 2027, organized by the African Cultural Agenda, Agriculture Agenda, and the Surveillance Media Limited. You're fully welcome. We are going to be starting with the national anthem. We are Nigerians and we should do the right thing. So we're going to be starting with the national anthem. Please rise as we start with the national anthem. National anthem, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please have your seat. You know, if we are on the field now, I'm not talking about the political field, maybe the football field, we'll just jump up like this, and immediately after the national anthem, we'll jump and then start the game. So let us proceed with the game. Okay, I'm going to, right now, so that we don't delay ourselves, I'm going to welcome the publisher of the book that is to be launched today. The book is God's Diamond Called Woman. Mr. Nathaniel Ahigbe. Mr. Nathaniel Ahigbe. Sorry for that. Mr. Nathaniel Ahigbe to come for his opening remarks and welcome address. Mr. Nathaniel, please. Please let us give him a round of applause. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start by first offering my heartfelt apology. In fact, I'm actually very embarrassed. All the people should have been here, and I did my best. I didn't sleep throughout last night trying to reach out, and I'm happy that Mr. Ahmed Buhari, he flew in from Abuja. We were still chatting in the night. Look at him here. And then also Professor Remi Sonaya, who came since yesterday. In fact, it's for her sake that we insist that this event must continue, because we suffered sponsorship pullouts. We had people who loved the idea, wanted to put their money in, but they felt because we were discussing politics, so they put their money back. We try to convince them that we are non-partisan media organization. We're just promoting female inclusiveness and what we can gain, as a nation by giving women the opportunity to lead at the governorship level. But nothing we said that was able to convince them. They just said, we'll work with you in the future. So that was a disappointment to me personally, but we had the option of also postponing the event. Because some said, oh, we have run out of our finances for this year, let us do it next year. But when I think of the commitment of Professor Sonaya. She had been preparing since over 6 months. Her commitment, her follow-up. I said we can't do this. And other members of the panelists who showed enthusiasm. We said, let us just go and do it. Let's send the message out and then move on from that. So there have been several disappointments to this day. And I've also seen that I've started to pay the price for promoting female political leadership. If I had just chosen a title that is more broad, that is so sexy, I will be smiling today because I'm saying that why can't us elect female as governors if they have done so well in all the fields where you have level playing field? Why can't us have them leading us as governors? So people who should have put their money down, they refuse. So I want to offer my sincere apology, whatever shortcomings you would have noticed, including the book that is not yet in stock in the press. I've said the book is not actually our main focus. We want to start a conversation. We want to interrogate the system that ensures that just place a limitation on the Nigerian woman. You know, women who are not as smart as Nigerian women, they are presidents elsewhere in the world. They are prime ministers. They are heads of governments. You know, they are governors. Even in the recent Arizona election in the U.S., the major political parties feeded women. Democrat feeded a woman. Republican feeded a woman. Why can't us have big political parties feeding women, as governors in Nigeria? So to that effect, I want to appreciate all of us who are here. Madam Rhoda, thank you so much, man. Pastor Apostle Jegede, we appreciate your coming, even though we have not been able to speak. You have shown example. We are glad that all of you are here. But because we are skipping the book presentation of this event, I'd like to just make a case for why we believe having a female leading a state in Nigeria as a governor will be in the interest of all of us Nigerians. It's not because they are women that we are saying let them be governors, because we have seen them show that leadership at home. We have seen them being able to manage that little thing you give them at home. We have seen women turning, in fact, women by design of God, which I wrote in the book. A woman is an incubator. You give her something, you can't receive it the same way you give it to her. Some of us here, we have parents, even though our mothers, they are not alive. You had the experience of having a mother. You have experience of having a sister. And I know the impact even having parents in the Lord. We know the impact that they have had on our lives. So we cannot be denying the fact that a woman can indeed be a great blessing to this nation. And in the banking sector, you will see them there. I just want to first, since we are working mainly with the digital copy of the book slide, immediately I will be happy if you can give me slide number 6 on the why we believe woman. The book itself focuses on the ability of the woman, the grace of the woman, the strength of the woman, the character of the woman, the wisdom of the woman, the managerial capacity of the woman. Even right from when she is a girl, you observe that at home, girls are usually the ones that take interest in helping mothers at home. So right from the cradle, they have this thing in showing interest in how home is managed. And if a woman can manage a home successfully, why are we afraid electing them as governor in Nigeria? Okay, I may just probably have to deal with please give me some few moments to, my slide here is giving me some. There are those on their way still calling me. Some are coming from Abuja. I'm talking to them. The moderator of this event, an editor in Business Day, is on the traffic coming. But we believe in keeping time, not African time. So we cannot punish those who believe in time by asking them to wait for those who are late for whatever reason. It's to that effect that we are starting the event as we are doing now. Media, please, can I have the slides? My laptop is giving me an issue here. Okay, please go on. Go on. Okay, in this place we said that even the books, we try to rebuke those who place limitations on the female leadership spirit. We remind them who the woman is. We inform them. And then we also rebuke that, why will you do this? Why will you say the woman doesn't have the right to lead? Why, even in the political atmosphere, why do men always find it easy to mobilize men using the female, they call them female leader in political parties? Why do we find it easy to use them to mobilize for votes? So when are we going to start? And INEC has already told us in 2023 that the vote will be decided by youth and women. That 75% of the voting populace in 2023 are youth and women. Now, if women have that strength, how do we translate that, into, an advantage, not for women, for us as a nation? What do we do? Thank you. What do we do to ensure that we start to elect women as governor, like it's being done elsewhere? Now, I have some undisputed facts about Nigerian women, which I would like to just quickly run through because of time. I'm a reporter, by the way. I'm giving you a reportorial account of the Nigerian woman, having reported politics for over a decade, and knowing what women can do, not to be begging men every time to give them so percentage, that they can actually take power if they organize themselves, and having men like us who support them to push it. Women are great lovers of nations. The woman is a great lover of everything around her, whether they are children, whether their husband, whether their nation. We have seen situations where a woman like this died for Nigeria. This woman hugged Ebola. There is no man that can do this. I asked myself, if it was a man, will a man pay that sacrifice? She almost hugged electricity, live wire, to protect us. That's a woman for you. She knew what she was doing. This is the second woman that did her best to ensure that fake drugs are kept out of our system. In fact, recently the husband was assassinated. As I tried to know why, it's not unconnected to what Dora Akunyili did. This woman. At some point in Nigeria, when men could not stand up to speak, when the president was ailing, this woman stood up and said, the president cannot do anything at her own risk and that of her family. That's woman for you. Now, women, I also seen that women are great business deal makers. According to this report, 10 out of every 8 Toyota family cars you see on the Nigerian road, cars you see on the Nigerian road, are Toyota cars. And Toyota doesn't have a plant in Nigeria manufacturing. We believe that if we have a strong female leadership figure as governor, they can make deals. I give you an example. Titan Trust Bank was established just 3 years ago. But recently, this same lady, Adaze, led that bank to acquire Union Bank, a bank that was established in 1917. That tells you how women had the things. If we allow them, we know women, they are courageous, they are honest. Now, women have less criminal tendencies. I have also found that out. Recently, I went to EFCC website and ICPC. I wanted to know, to just be sure, I'm not talking from the head. I was amazed to find out that 21 of people declared wanted by ICPC. Only 4 are women. And one of them was a former staff of ICPC. To tell you that they were objective, they didn't hide their own. Others are men. I went to EFCC website. In fact, people that have been arrested so far and convicted for stealing our money, maybe out of 500, you may see 5 women. So it means women are more honest. If you give them something to keep, they are more likely to keep it than men. So why would laws be keeping assets like this away from ruling as governor? Then I have a slide here, the problem with Nigeria, what Chinua Achebe said that is leadership. But as a reporter, I've come to see that the problem is not just leadership, it's political leadership. It's our problem. We need to find a way to defeat that system. Now, this is what Peter Obi said, that if you have everything and you have no policy, you have nothing. That is our problem. In every field where we have been able to show good policy, you see that Nigeria is doing well. Now, this is the image we have. He said, this political system, this is where I'll try to round up now. It's an image that is huge. We don't know how to defeat it. The system where we have, where the best of us are the one ruling, the worst of us are the one ruling the best of us. And they have so done it that the best of us cannot come close to this political structure. Talk less of women. In fact, I'm shocked what I'm hearing, the sexual harassment, that few women that are coming out, what they go through, the intimidation. So this is the system we have, whereby that genuine person, honest people like women cannot come near to that, even though they have the voting strength to cause an upset in the system. Now, this is the voting strength of women that I talked about earlier on, where INEC has told us in 2023 that women will decide who becomes the next president, supported by youth. Now, why do we feel that we should start a campaign from now? Because in this 2023, it's only the lady in Adamawa State, Binani, that is contesting for the office of the governor. In the whole, none of the parties believe that a woman can be, it's only her. And the court actually sacked her until Appeal Court restated her position back again. And she defeated Nuhu Ribadu, a very powerful image, political image. So it means that women also, if we can identify women that have the strength, they can win election, they can defeat men. So one of the things we intend to do is to tell women, you don't need to be afraid. We have decided to step in. It's why I'm not discouraged by the few people around that we are starting the conversation. That we must tell women, come outside of your hiding place, of your comfort zone. You have made success outside politics. You can come to politics and do it. And there are people that will defend you. There are people that will tell you how to go about it, how to mentor, how to approach parties. And we also intend to talk to political parties, particularly at the state levels, why they must feed women for the office of the governors. Yes, every other area's leadership position in Nigeria, it's okay, women can, but the position of the governor is a place where we want a woman to take a decision. And we have seen them done it at that level. That's where we are headed. This is the woman I was talking about that EFCC removed. This is the only woman that have cemented that seat. In Nigeria, we talked about Christianization. We don't want to Christianize Nigeria. We don't want to Islamize Nigeria. The question we then need to ask, do we also want to Mennonize Nigeria? Why can't a woman be, this woman became a governor by default because Obi was sacked. Why can't us be deliberate to elect women as governors? Is it that they have not proven it enough that they can do this job? That's why we went for Professor Sonaya, that we know she was a former presidential candidate. We know what she did, that we believe that she's able to advise us what we can do. We're able to listen to our panelists that what can we do, because we are committed to driving this initiative. We are committed to finding friends both within and outside Nigeria that can help us, because Nigeria is at a crossroad where if we don't rescue it, we have complained enough. We need to start finding a way of rescuing this country. And women, we see them as that stone that is caught without and that can destroy this image, this system we are seeing, that defeat may not be strong. Obi is already testing it, that this system can be defeated. Women can be that vessel. So I would like to stop here because I want to listen to the panelists, I want to listen to the keynote speakers so that I can take notes and know where do I go from here. Once again, I want to thank you for coming, and I pray that as you go back to your respective destination, that God will protect you back home and you meet your families safely. Thank you so much for coming.
Please let us appreciate the publishers very well. It's not easy to put events together and bring people together to come and discuss a topic that many people are running away from. We are in an environment that the men will always want to be the head. And they will always want to lead. We will always want to, don't let me say they. We will always want to lead. But I believe also that it is time for us to allow the women. But also for the women, well, we'll get there. But nobody will give power to you because you're a woman, or because you're a man, or because you're a youth. We have to be part of the decision making. We have to be part of the game. Nobody will come and serve us power a la carte. We have to work for it. And I believe we have women that are doing that. We have many of them that have been working tirelessly. And I know one day it will pay off. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? One day we'll have a Nigerian president that is a woman. Ha! We don't even believe. You believe? Oh, yes, you believe, ma. And you have actually tested the water before. And I believe you should not stop. We should go again. We should go again. Let's keep trying. One day it will happen. One day it will happen. We'll have a Lagos State governor that is a woman. See these people. You people don't believe me. But it is possible. We'll keep discussing like this. We'll keep engaging. And one day we'll see it. When you give a woman money to keep, you know your money is safe. Except for one the other time now, you know. But we know most women, at least we have women in our homes, and we know if you don't want to spend money, give it to the woman. She will keep it for you. And just be prayerful that she's not the one that will go and buy her Shebi. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point I want to acknowledge and welcome some of our speakers and panelists and guests that we have invited. Please, as I call them, please, I want you to appreciate everyone. I want you to celebrate everyone. Okay, so please, as I call your name, please humbly come to the seat provided for you. First on the list, I want to appreciate and welcome a former presidential candidate, Professor Remi Shonaya, former presidential candidate of Kowa Party. I'm right. Please let us celebrate her. Let us appreciate her, please. Please. Thank you for coming. She tested the water recently. I think it was in the last election. Okay, 2015. 2015 elections. And Ma, I believe you will go again. One day. We'll try it again. We'll try it again. All right, Ma. Thank you very much. Let's celebrate her one more time. I also want to welcome Apostle Bukola Jegede, founder, Daughters of Destiny International Fellowship. Let us celebrate her, please. Please, let's keep clapping. Let's appreciate ourselves. Please let us celebrate Mrs. Rhoda Ainde, former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Establishment, Pension and Training, Lagos State. Mrs. Rhoda Ainde, please let us celebrate her. Also, let us welcome Dr. Vero Kuze Amaka, Group Executive Director, Corporate Communication and Event for PZ Group. P1, okay, P1 Group. Please let us appreciate her. Let us celebrate her. And now, you see, we cannot have men. It's not complete if you have men and you don't have women. So it is also not complete if you have women and you don't have a man or men. Mm-hmm. So I want to specially welcome a brother, a friend, a mentor. Yes, a mentor. Somebody some of us really, really look up to. We celebrate his dedication, his passion, and his doggedness to always focus and fight for what he believes in. Please join me as I welcome, I call him His Excellency, Mr. Ahmed Buhari, Vice Presidential Candidate of the African Democratic Congress, a former presidential candidate also. Please let us celebrate and welcome Mr. Ahmed Buhari. Please let us celebrate him. You are fully welcome, sir. Yes, don't worry. He's not going to speak against the women. Everything we are going to say here today will be for the women. All right. So without wasting our time, let us welcome the keynote speaker, Professor Remi Shonaya, to come for our keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, Prof, let us appreciate her, please. Professor Remi Shonaya. Please let us celebrate her.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, dear friends, colleagues, political colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation, Nat. We got to know each other at the time when I was running for election and he interviewed me. You know, so when he called to invite me for this program, you know, I said, well, it will be a pleasure to be here. So thank you so much. It's nice to see all of us who are here. The title I was given is The Possible Path to Electing Nigeria's First Female Governors. You know, and when I saw that title, I kind of chuckled, you know, because I thought, why is NAT restricting us to governor now? Why not the first female president? I mean, why are you stepping down? You know, for us, are we not qualified to be president as well? You know, so, but anyway, I will try and go through what I have here quickly. So I've done the protocol and appreciation. Let me start by just sharing briefly some experience, my past experience. As I was preparing for running in the presidential elections in 2015, some ideas came to my mind as to how a government is effectively and successfully run. How do you effectively and successfully run a government? That is, in a manner that it will deliver the best to people. Because I was convinced that occupying a political position was for service. Then I remembered that I had once heard a former mayor of New York City, Mr. Mike Bloomberg, say in an interview that he considered his job as consisting primarily in assembling the best team possible to deliver the services that were needed by the people of New York City. So the question for me then was, how do you know the best people to assemble? Who would be most qualified for health, management, security, agriculture, economy, economics, urban planning, erosion control, or whatever it was that you needed to do? How would you know who the best people were? So it occurred to me that the best thing might be to ask the citizens themselves to say, who do you know that is an expert in this area, or are you yourself an expert in this area? Because that is one thing that I find that we have not done. Getting people into position has always been by connection, who you know, and so on, not so much the expertise that we know that the people have. So I thought, okay, if I ever get to a position, I would set up maybe a website to say, either nominate yourself, giving proof of your expertise in the particular area, or nominate somebody who you know is an expert in that area. And just recently, I actually contacted some tech-savvy people that I knew. And I said, what if we needed to do this? What would it look like? I mean, I'm not a tech person as such, so how could we set up this kind of a program? Then, could you imagine my utter delight when Governor Soludo was elected as the governor of Anambra State? And during the transition period, before he effectively took office, they announced that the indigents of Anambra State, or in fact anybody who was interested in helping Anambra, should register their areas of expertise with the government. I was thrilled. Maybe that happened because of the person who was put in charge of that transition team, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. I have worked very closely with Dr. Ezekwesili. She's not your traditional thinker. She is a disruptive, she likes to use the word, disruptive thinker, you know, out of the box and so on. So I was very, very pleased with that. Why was I pleased with that? Because I was sure. You see, when the system, and this is the point that I'm going to make in this paper, when the system is based on qualification, when the system is based on merit, you don't need to make a case for women. Do you get the point? When your system is based on merit, on competence, on capacity, on qualification, don't bother. Don't make any case for us. We will come up by ourselves. It is because of the terrible system that we are running that women are not coming up in this country. You know, once I've said that, I could actually go and sit down. Because that is my point. Our leadership selection or evolution process is like we have just heard from our author. What we have currently is the rule of the least qualified. Government by the least qualified. People who barely have the needed educational qualifications, many of them. Even that qualification self is on, you are wondering, is it foreign? Go and bring the school cert. And so what kind of a situation is that in this day and age? In the 21st century, when many of us had been hoping that this century would be the century for Africa, when Africa would raise its head above the nation, among the nations of the world, when we would no longer be the ones that they will be gathering together. Let's send aid to them. Malaria is killing them. Erosion is dealing with them. They can't feed themselves. Wars and famine and hunger and all kinds of diseases. You see all the terrible photos. Children in Somalia, children in Ethiopia, and so on and so forth. My own desire at the turn of the century was that this century would be the century for Africa. And you know that Africa is not going anywhere if Nigeria does not sort itself out. If 1 out of every 4 or 5 Africans is a Nigerian, then it is clear that Nigeria must arise and take its rightful place for Africa to truly take its rightful place. Meanwhile, see Nigeria. See what we are doing. See how we are messing ourselves up by not choosing the right kind of leaders. We are making such a fool, such a big fool of ourselves in the face of the world. And I'm sure that even right now, the rest of the world is looking at us and wondering and thinking, when will these people learn? When will they recognize that they cannot continue to do things the way they have been doing? That it matters the people that we choose to run our affairs. I am saying that this state of affairs in the country, this mess that Nigeria is in, is all the more confounding because we Nigerians are normally acknowledged to be a gifted people. Go anywhere in the world, if there is a group of people doing something worthwhile, doing something important, creating some innovation, if it's a group of people, let's say 5, 6 people around the world, you are likely to find one Nigerian among them. Nigerians, we are gifted. What the world is wondering is that how can you have such a gifted group of people and their country is in this state? I often say that we Nigerians owe the world an explanation, if not an apology. We owe the world that explanation because they look at us, they say, you know, my friends will say, Remy, but there are people like you in that country. There are people who are much better than you in that country. How come your country is like this? We have to explain it to the world. And I believe we have to apologize because we are causing unnecessary trouble in the world. You know. So, for one thing, we are known to be a very, very gifted people. Secondly, and this is how it connects to our topic for today, our women are occupying some of the highest positions around the world. I mean, how many countries have women occupying some of the topmost positions? So, the Deputy UN Secretary General is a woman. She's Nigerian, Amina Mohammed. The head of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, woman, Nigerian. Ngozi was my classmate in secondary school, by the way. Well, then we have Akinade Shina, head of African Development Bank, not a woman, but Nigerian. I mean, those are three very important international, positions. And you just have them, so many women and so many Nigerians there. And then recently, there was a photograph shared by Mrs. Kemi Badenoch, who is the UK Trade Secretary. I mean, from her name, Kemi, you know that she's Yoruba, of Yoruba origin. But she is the Trade Secretary of the United Kingdom. And she shared a photograph of herself with Wale Adeyemo, who is the Deputy Treasury Secretary of the United States of America. Two Nigerians almost in charge of the treasuries of the United Kingdom and the United States of America. So if Kemi Badenoch could be the Trade Secretary of the United Kingdom, why is it that Nigeria is finding it difficult to believe that women have the capacity in spite of the demonstration of that capacity? Remember when Ngozi Okonjo was our Minister of Finance, what she did for the country in getting a lot of our debt wiped out. Remember the times when Obi Ezekwesili was Minister either of Education and then of Mineral Resources, and the impact that they had. This is a very important issue. So why can we not select the right person for the right time? The case of Mrs. Helen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia came to my mind. The first woman to be elected president in sub-Saharan Africa. Her case is interesting because normally what is demonstrated is that women advance politically in countries where they have been able to advance economically. That when there is, an economic boom and everybody makes progress economically, women are able to make progress economically. Once they can, earn more money, they feel, more comfortable in their homes and so on, then they tend to have more time for political involvement, so that women's political development tends to follow their economic development. But in the case of Liberia, that was not the case. That was not what happened. Mrs. Sirleaf was elected president after 14 years of war. A period of war is not a period of economic advancement, usually for the people. That's normally a period of serious trial, social difficulties, and so on. But Mrs. Sirleaf was elected after that period of war. I asked myself why. And I think that what happened was that the people of Liberia understood their condition. That they knew that their country needed someone who would be a nurse to nurse them back to health. When you think of someone, who would be a nurse to nurse you back, you are thinking compassion and so on. That was why I believe they chose a woman. A country should be able to recognize their need and to take the appropriate step. Have we ever even thought of where are we as a country? And what kind of leader do we need at this specific time? Those kinds of issues don't seem to occupy us. Instead, people will be saying, oh, this one, it doesn't have structure. That one, it doesn't have money, and so on. Is that what the country needs? Is that where we stand? If Liberia had been saying, Mrs. Salif does not have structure, and so on and so forth, would they have been able to evolve from those years of war and trauma that they had been, like she was able to help them, to evolve? So we must learn as a people to recognize where we are. Where do we stand at this moment? What is our situation? We have a country that has been ravaged by serious insecurity, by terrible, impoverishment of the populations, and so on and so forth. The question we should be asking ourselves is, what kind of a leader does a country need when they stand at such a moment in their history? But unfortunately, we do not do that. We have not instituted any process. We have seen some countries, when they come out of war, they establish a committee, Committee for Truth and Reconciliation and so on, like in Rwanda. There are definite steps that nations take to confront their reality. Unfortunately, what we see in our own case is a total, ignoring of the real issues by our leaders. Pretending as, oh, these things, they don't happen. Oh, it's just some, what is that name? They like to, disgruntled. It's just some disgruntled elements that are saying these things, wanting to run they are so thin-skinned. All they want is people who would agree with them on every minor issue, who will grovel before them and praise them and so on, not addressing the fundamental questions that we have. We have a political class that is resistant to change. Thank God the not too young to run bill was finally passed. And we are grateful to groups like Yaga for really championing that cause. But how so sad for Nigeria that the gender equality bill was not passed. Shame, totally shameful for the country. Because people had been hoping that that bill would finally help our country to get the kind of leadership that we deserve and that many of us desire, and also to provide a greater opportunity for participation for the women of Nigeria in the political leadership of the country. But what did we find? All the 5 bills, were just shut down by our male-dominated National Assembly. So it was not possible for provisions to be made constitutionally. And there are many countries that have gone the legislative way in improving the participation of women in politics. You know, because you can't keep begging, let us have women, let us have women. And when the men refuse, they don't allow it to happen. So some countries have gone, okay, if we are not going to let it happen normally, then we will legislate. And countries have gone that way before, and they have reaped the benefits of having women participate more in decision-making in the political leadership of their country. The West African region is known to be the least in terms of women participation in all of Africa. There was a Women's Political Participation Africa Barometer for 2021. It looked at the Horn of Africa, East African region, Southern African region, Central African region, Northern African region, and West African region. West Africa was the least where women participated in political leadership. And I am convinced that Nigeria contributed to bringing West Africa down. Because if you look at a few, at least Senegal. Senegal is so surprising, because this is a country that is mostly Muslim. And one would have thought that, you know, it is in the Islamic areas that you find more resistance and so on. But no. Even look at our own case in Adamawa, in the north. That's where you have a woman, you know, contesting to be a governor. Senegal has, I think, 46% or so of female participation in the parliament, while Nigeria has like 4%, 5% kind of thing. This is very shameful for us. And it has not escaped the attention of the United Nations General Assembly. The UN's Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, following the report, a new report released by the UN's Office for West Africa and the Sahel, UNOWAS, in July 2022, he said the following. He said, I note the continued underrepresentation of women in decision-making across the West African region. And I reiterate the importance of promoting the full and meaningful participation and representation of women in all political processes. So I just would like to add that it's important to know that the low representation of women in politics has to do with the general attitude of our governments on the issue of human development and female human development in particular. There's a journalist, Mr. Rotimi Sankore, who has been speaking a lot about these issues. That when you have so many young girls out of school, look at our out of school children, over 20 million right now. A high percentage of them is female, mostly girls. What we are doing is breeding a class of unschooled women who therefore will live in poverty because they don't have skills. They won't be able to take good care of their children. In fact, since many of them, coupled with early child marriage, is a deadly combination, because they themselves are still children needing care, and they are bringing children into the world, we are perpetrating serious problems, poverty, illiteracy, diseases, and all of that, you know. So we have a governments that are not addressing those issues. So many of those, I put here, many of those who govern us apparently do not consider girls as being fit for education, except their own daughters, of course. You know, many of our political leaders, they don't have their own daughters roaming the streets. Their daughters are busy studying in fine schools, getting degrees from, you know, British and American institutions. But so as not to give the impression that everything is negative, I would like to point attention to the fact that things are gradually changing. And where I see that things are changing is in the development, the new awareness that is being created in the country now. People are becoming more aware. Citizens are becoming more conscientized, you know, as to their role in choosing capable leaders and so on. If you look at my coat, I have a badge here that says Office of the Citizen. This initiative was launched just last week, Monday, by the organization called Fix Politics Initiative. I'm a part of it. It was started by Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, the Fix Politics Initiative. And one of our flagship programs is what we call the School of Policy, Politics, and Governance. This is a 10-month program in which we are training politicians. We are training new people, a new breed of politicians. We have had 2 graduations already of close to 400 people. And many of them are contesting in the coming elections. So these people have received training about what it means to be a political office holder or to work in government, that service delivery is what your job is about. And so I'm very excited, you know, that we have the possibility now to train a new crop of political leaders. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It's called the School of Policy, Politics, and Governance, SPPG. If you go online, if you do sppg.org, you will find it. Some of our graduates, and even some that are just registered now, are contesting in the upcoming elections. And also, what's interesting is that other African nations are taking notice. And they are saying, please come and establish this for us too. Senegal, Cameroon, Kenya, they are already interested. We have faculty from all around the world. You know, we cannot allow for our situation to continue in the way we have been going. So finally, let me quickly round up with a few ideas about how to chart a new pathway for leadership selection. First of all, let me say that another positive development is the passage of the electoral bill that has become law. So we now have a new electoral law, which is useful, the use of the beavers, making rigging in elections at least more difficult. So that is a positive development. And we hope that, you know, although some parties are saying, oh, we are not ripe for the use of electronic whatever. We hope that the INEC will go through with using these electronic means to secure our elections. I've mentioned the preparing of a new breed of political leaders. Remember what I said at the beginning, that if our electoral process is based on merit, on qualification, on competence, on capacity, then don't worry to make any case for women. We will be there. We will come tops. So, preparing this new breed and making sure that we select based on capacity and competence. In France, for instance, almost every French president has attended what they call, they have all this system of, they call it the École Normale Supérieure. There is a particular school, École Normale d'Action in France. If you have not gone there, you are not likely to ever become a French president. They just think, what do you know? How are you going to be able to manage us? So how can we in the 21st century be having people maybe who have not gone to university? Look, it's not about being about pride or whatever. These are requirements. Who is going to be the CEO of a bank or of an international organization, and there is no high qualification these days? Why do we think that politics is that area where proper preparation is not required? So we must look at that. And I was very happy that in a recent speech made by Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House, maybe that was at the graduation ceremony of UNILAG or something like that, he said they should consider increasing the educational qualification for elective offices. So, preparing a new breed of political leaders, raising minimum educational qualifications for political office holders, then having thorough issue-based campaigning. Our politicians are constantly saying, oh, we want issue-based campaign. We want issue-based campaigns. But what have they been feeding us? What have we been experiencing from them? Is it not the fight between PDP, between Wike and the Wike group and the Atiku group? The troubles in APC and things like that. Where is the issue-based campaigning? When even some candidates refuse to participate in debates, say, no, it's not my style. Oh, I already, I'm talking to people, I'm going from place to place. There should be some minimum requirements so that we the people can listen to those who want to manage our affairs and be able to evaluate them, compare them one to another when they come. Finally, one thing that is also required is a thorough scrutiny of the candidates. Me, I'm ashamed that I would be represented, the possibility of being represented by people who are accused of being criminals. You are Nigerian and you travel. Once they see that your green passport, you know how they treat us around the world. We are these people who are not ashamed to have criminals be in charge of our affairs, to have all kinds of, human beings that should not be leaders at all. be in charge of her. How do we consider that? Do we think that it reflects well on us as a people? So these are some of the issues that I wanted to bring up. And like I said, it is clear, again, that if we are focused on competence, character, capacity, if we can scrutinize the people who are competing for elections, if that would be the determining factor, not money. I mean, by the time you are saying, come and buy a form for 100 million naira, even for 40 million naira, this is ridiculous. It means that system is not serious. That system is not looking for the best. When we make it clear that we are looking for the best, when we approach the selection of our political leaders like we approach the choice of the CEO of an important business, that we know we want this thing to succeed. When how they headhunt and things like that. When we approach a political system like that, there's absolutely no doubt that we will have women evolve and emerge not only as governors of states, but as president in this country. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Ma. I think she deserves another round of applause. Wow. Until we get it right. So it is not about encouraging women to participate. It is about getting it right, and everyone will want to participate. So that is it. I hope we get it right one day. All right, so without wasting time, we are going to have the panelist session now. Mr. Nat, please. Yes, the chairs, so that, because we are going to have 4 people and then the moderator, that's 5 on the panel. So they will be talking about our topic, what we have been looking at, which is roadmap to electing Nigeria's first female governors in 2027. Please let us welcome. Thank you. Okay. Apostle Bukola Jegede, please. Apostle Bukola Jegede. Mrs. Rhoda Ainde. You're welcome, ma'am. Dr. Vero Amaka. Let me say Honorable Ahmed Buhari. And to moderate this session is Mr. Zebulon Agamo, the editor at Business Day newspaper. I believe he's a business editor. All right.
first name? Rhoda. Yes. Isola. Thank you, Prof. And I really didn't expect less because you have been a veteran and you've been following the political trajectory of the country and indeed the global events on political turf, and you can write volumes, and I know you have already written some. Thank you so very much for what you've been doing over the years. Prof indeed touched many areas that really concern all of us here as Nigerians. Particularly, she didn't really agree with the pigeonholing the women to the particular area of governorship. It will be as if you are considering them not qualified enough to be the president of the country. And I think we should be taken up from there. I want to call on Rhoda to really look at this scenario. Are we looking for governorship, or should we be talking about the president of this country for a woman to occupy that position, based or going by what women have been doing in the country, and all the people who have spoken, the author and the prof, have taken time to reel out a lot of noble things that women in our climb here have been doing. So do you think that women should only just concern themselves with governorship?
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I wouldn't say that it's limiting women to governorship is belittling women. The Yorubas have a saying that you start eating the bean cake from the lowest level, not from the tip. I think, and it's said that the taste of the pudding, it's in the eating. When we first have a female governor, and people see the performance, and they see the rate of development, they see the advancement, they see the growth in the economy and different sectors of governance, then it's the people, the citizens, just like keynote speaker said, Professor Shonaya, talking about the office of the citizens. When citizens are conscious of their rights and all what it takes to be a good citizen and to elect an effective leader, then without any gainsaying, it's the citizens themselves that we crave for the election of a president, a female president. So if we start, I think it's just been starting gradually, just like a child that is born does not walk in a day or in a month. The child first crawls before he stands and before he starts walking. I think that's the process that Nathaniel is trying to go. That's why he said we should still have, not even having a female governor, not to talk of a female president. So if we start with a female governor, then the consciousness of the people will change, will be aroused, and then there will be a change of mindset. I think that's why he has gone that route.
Yeah, before I come to you, Busola, I will want to bring to our notice here that this is a media event and it's being streamed live. Whatever we are doing here is being relayed online. So please, Busola, in the whole history of Nigeria, there have been only 2 women governors. One, Balarabe in Kaduna in 2019 as acting governor when El-Rufai was on leave. And she was the one that presented the budget, 2020 budget for the state. Do you think that may have informed what the author Nat, why he decided to lower the flag to say, well, perhaps that may be the area they will be operating? Only 2 women. He mentioned Virginia Tiaba of Anambra and this Balarabe. Only 2 since we came back to civil rule in 1999.
Thank you so much for having me here. I want to congratulate the organizer, and Prof, thank you so much for the work you've done and you're still doing. I'd like to take it on a broader level. Until we have a major sociological change in Nigeria and Africa as regards women, we probably would not have that acceptance and that support. I want to believe that the organizer of this program is one of the very few men that support women. Women have tremendous capacity to deliver. And if we've found a few women who have failed, that is not representative of the capacity of the woman. I run an organization where my main focus is to raise women to live their God-ordained purpose and to live as, in religious parlance, sons of God. You see, sons of God are not just male, but female, living in their full potential. So until we have a system and a collection of people that believe that a woman has the capacity to do what a man can do, and that when we're talking about the man being the head, that is only in marriage and not in the political sector or in the business sector. But we are still struggling with people accepting this in the church, in the mosque, even in the workplace, and in the political era. And, you know, in comments made, thinking women are frivolous with money, buying ashwebi and all, you know, you see it everywhere. So until we get to that point where we will see that a woman is able and capable to do things and give them the opportunity. So we need a sociological change, especially with the men, because we have a patriarchal system. That is what we have in the political system. It is very, very patriarchal. And that's what a lot of people are used to, patriarchal system. Even in the family, the African man mentality is so strong everywhere. So until we get to that point where people will give women the chance and see them do well. Now, when you go to a lot of schools doing their graduation, you're going to find out that the girls are collecting all the awards. The girls are doing very, very well. So there is a kind of sociological revolution going on. And it's starting from the marriage, the home front. Women are pushing that we cannot be held down. And the earlier we give women the opportunity to prove themselves and turn this nation around, the better it will be for us as a nation.
Thank you so much. I'll come back to you. Dr. Vera, it is often been said that women are their, what's the enemies? The greatest enemies of women are the women themselves. When Sarah Jibril ran for presidency some years ago, in fact, at a point, I think she got 1 vote or none at all. But some women were seen supporting her during the election, they pulled back. Prof had done that on several occasions. I don't know the quantum of votes she got from her immediate. Now, what I'm trying to say is that if we are looking at giving women the opportunity to lead this country, what must we be expecting from the women, particularly those who are now in power? What conversation do you think we should be having to sensitize others and to galvanize support towards her? What level of conversation? Let me not put words in your mouth.
All right, thank you very much. And once again, Prof, thank you so much, ma. Because you have practically made our jobs on this side very easy. Now, talking about women being the women, is it something like that? First of all, I will want to disagree with you. I have not read it anywhere where it is written that women are their worst enemies. There are women who have excelled in different facets of life.
No, what I meant by that is that the lack of support, the support base from the women folk, one of them, like Prof, has been contesting. You don't see that support base from the women folk saying, one of us, let's just give her the necessary support. That's what we're saying. And Jibril contested severally, and in one occasion, she didn't even get a vote. What happened?
I do not agree that it is because women did not vote for them that they did not succeed. It is still the same societal problem. It is still the same societal problem where the men or the society is not even giving the women the chance to operate. Women have succeeded in banking. Women have succeeded in businesses. They've succeeded in law. Why are they not succeeded in politics? In all of these areas where women have succeeded, are there no other women there? There are other women there. And so if you give women the opportunity, the platform, the same level playing ground that you are giving to the men, it is not their fellow women that is the problem. That's what I'd like to add there.
Okay, thank you so much. Now I come to
The moderator,
sir.
if I may come in there to support what Madam said. When you're talking of politics, the man has always been in charge. Our system is patriarchal, like Busola rightly said. Imagine a woman or women before election, the husband already tells her, excuse me, this is who you vote for. If you vote for that lady, you're leaving this house. So the man is still the problem. The men have always been in charge, and they always want to be in charge. So they suppress the women. Of course, when the wife has been told by the husband that you cannot, this is who you vote for, then of course the woman cannot do otherwise because she wants to maintain her home. That's my thought.
Thank you so much. Before we go on, we want to recognize His Royal Highness. I've been signaling so that I wouldn't make a mistake, so that we know how to properly address him and to formally welcome him. We wouldn't be going on and ignoring his presence. So please let someone formally welcome him as we. Just you can do the.
All right, so let me quickly welcome and recognize the presence of Chief Lekon Bakari, Oba Lailoa Said Aro Oba of Ikate, representing the Kusala 3, a legacy of Ikate Kingdom. You're welcome, sir. Please let's appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir. Yeah, that brought me now to the next question I want to ask. You are a man and you are one of those being accused of blocking the chances of women. In your house, I believe that you have role shares, you share roles with your wife. And why is it difficult for men to share roles and to at least, let's pull back, for women to at least lead us when it is obvious that things are not working properly?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and I must congratulate the organizers, especially Nathaniel. I think this has been a success, regardless of the outcome. Before I go further, I know how I use my platforms on social media, which has a good followings in thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, to propagate this event, and how it's going to be an opportunity for us to talk about women in politics and, energize that space. But as you can see, there are many women in the hall. I think one of the things Prof said that really got to me was when she said, when a system is based on merit, you do not have to make a case for women. And I think this is the basis for this conversation. It's about women, it's about children, it's about men, it's about the society. I tell you one thing for sure, if the society was working, many of us would have picked up on conversations that are not concerned with women in politics. Probably we'll be talking about other things like morality, other things like business, other things like how to improve the economy, other things like how to uplift people from poverty and stuff like that. But because the space is not working, different arms of the society are pulling with their own narratives and concerns. Genuine concerns, by the way. Women want to get more involved. Women believe that if they're there, they will do better than the men. Young people believe they're there, they will do better than the older men, and things like that. So this is what I think the basis is. Why is the system not working? Prof mentioned people like Obieza Kwesile, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Amina Mohammed, and regardless of whatever anybody must have to say about any of the other ones who might have done the right things or the wrong things while in office or with the opportunity, it still boils down to the fact that all of those people who are like gold or seen as gold in the areas that they are operating came to Nigeria and could not do well. So there's a problem. And what is the problem? I believe that Nigeria is standing on a tripod. We have the three arms of government, which consists of the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And then we have the other arm, the other leg of the tripod, which is the civil service structure, which consists of the civil servants, the parastatals, the military, the police, and other paramilitary agencies. They're there. And then the third leg is the Nigerian people, all of us here, who want a better country, who are hoping that for us to have given our all to getting certain people elected in office, that the whole drive will be that they will work hard to ensure that the dividends of democracy get to us. But anything you're going to put in the three arms of government, which obviously you understand they come every 4 to 8 years and they go, their responsibility is to put together projects, policies, and functions that will be passed through the civil service structure for implementation that will hopefully get the dividends of democracy to the Nigerian people. This civil structure, this civil service structure that we're talking about, I call them the gatekeepers. They are the implementers. They're the ones who will make sure that everything that is brought from that arm of government must see the light of day. But as I speak with you right now, there's a soldier in Sambisa Forest who hasn't spoken to his wife in a long time. He got a chance, picked up the phone, called his wife, "How are my children?" And he's told that they've been at home for weeks because they've not been able to pay their school fees in government-operated schools. And this man is just 100 meters away from Boko Haram. And he's got bullets, he's got ammunition, he's got some guns. He's thinking of trading. You lose him. The patriotism there has gone. Are you talking about the ministries? As you walk into the ministries and you see posters of colleagues, of fellow people in the, this man needs 200,000 for his medical. This one needs 500,000 for his medical. Go back there after 1 month. Obituary, they're gone. Other colleagues are saying, am I going to be honest and work for this system that doesn't care about me? Then these are the fundamental problems. So at the end of the day, what Professor Shonaya said is the truth. If this indeed, we do not even have to make a case for anybody. The system would put in place the right people, which is why I believe, sorry, I'll just drop my point, which is why I believe that for us to have a successful country that will really get the dividends of democracy from that arm of government through this arm of government to the Nigerian people, we would have to put in place a structure that is away from a salary incentive structure to a welfare incentive structure. So as a civil servant, I get into that space, and I know that from day one, I'm already doing a rent-to-own housing scheme that guarantees my house. Because I have seen people older than me who retired because they were just honest, they cannot even show you a land. 2, we must make sure that we put in place affordable, subsidized education for the children of civil servants, so that never again should you hear that a civil servant child has been chased out of school. Thirdly, we must put in place full health insurance cover for every civil servant. It doesn't make any sense if he dies just because he couldn't afford money and he's protecting a system. So tomorrow when you come with that bid and you say you only do 20% markup, he tells you, oh boy, take it back and make it 200% markup. Because he wants to take whatever he can take now. He doesn't know what tomorrow is going to hold. Then lastly, I believe that the civil servant structure civil servants must be given an opportunity to access tax rebates. So that anytime they purchase anything from anywhere, they can put together their receipts and go at the end of the year to the financial institution and claim their tax returns. This is the only time they can sit down and say, I am here to protect the system that I am serving. Other than that, we're just talking. Everybody wants to be there. I'm a young person, I want to be there, and an old man, I say, look at these idiots. A woman is there, she just wants to be there, and she's supposed to be in the kitchen. And we were all here saying, these old men are sleeping on TV. It's going to be a vicious circle, and unless we address these fundamentals, we're just playing. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Now, I return to you, Dr. Vera. One of the major problems is stereotype. You know, women, they say, this woman is a politician. She slept her way to the top. And you know, meetings, political meetings, many of them take place very, very late in the night. There are some times you want to go and see a governor, you will not see him until 2, 3 a.m. Now, to what extent do you think such stereotype may have hindered women from going into political positions?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm talking about stereotypes. Stereotypes are thoughts, beliefs, biases that have been engraved in the system over time. Okay, and now the average Nigerian woman is existing in the midst of these stereotypes. Okay? That was why I was talking about giving the Nigerian woman a level playing ground. What is wrong with having political meetings at the normal time that people can hold meetings? I don't know. How do you expect a woman that is probably married with a husband, you are all men here, to leave her home in the night and go and be having political meetings, even if she does not have anything she's doing that is wrong at that time? The stereotype will come in. They will believe that because she's a woman, she's going to ask for favors that will place her above the other person. So my thinking here is, if you truly want a society that is fair to the women, if you truly want a society that wants to encourage the women folk to bring on board what they are capable of doing, what they have replicated in many other places, in ministry. That's my spiritual mother there. She has run the ministry for 16 years. I know what she has done with the women in her care. And I'm beginning to imagine if you give this woman an opportunity at the national level,
she will meet the civil servant.
She will, no matter who she's going to meet, that same capacity, that same wisdom, the same integrity, the same honesty, whatever she has applied to be able to bring the women she has led in 16 years to where they are. And you need to see this cream of women. She's also going to bring it there. So talking about stereotypes, it is the society, it is the mindset. What we have already programmed in the minds of cannot achieve unless she has gone to sleep with a man. Why don't we stop those things that make it look like that is what they're doing? We can have our political meetings in a normal time. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me go to Sola. Can we have your perspective on that?
Okay. It's not just about having late night meetings. The political landscape is not women friendly. You know, the meetings one, then money. You know.
No, we are coming to that.
Yes, it is
no,
part of
that's
it.
a subject on its own, finance. I want you to talk on the stereotypes on this. We're
Well,
coming to finance.
Okay, so if you look at women, women have an uncanny wisdom to unravel things. I want to, Honorable's comment about civil servants. I actually have an experience, you know. My husband used to be with the government, one of the states. He was a special advisor in one of the states. And I had an experience whereby I knew the impact of civil servants, even when there is a good policy, even when the intentions are right, they are the ones the ones who will implement it. And until we have a turnaround in that, it's like the engine being bad, and then you put a new body on a vehicle. Yeah, but you went to spray it and it's glossy about the engine. So for good reform to happen in Nigeria, there must be a total overhaul of the civil service. Changing the mindset of the civil servant. Reoriented. And he has mentioned some of it, because if their welfare is not okay, then they would begin to look for other means, because they are the ones to execute the road projects. They are the ones to do this and that, and then things will not work. So when we come to stereotyping women for getting to high places in society, I want you to know that even as that is rife, it doesn't mean that we don't have women who rise above the stereotype to prove that, yes, a woman can achieve if you give her the opportunity to achieve. So stereotypes, fine. Just like men deal with a lot of things and they still achieve. But I believe we're getting there. It's a rumbling that we're seeing. It's a rumbling, and the rumbling will lead somewhere good.
Yeah, Rhoda, do you still have anything here, or do we go on? Do you have?
I'd just like to add to the issue of the civil service, people trying to cut corners. If we remember from what Mr. Buhari said, when the system is restructured, when a welfare system is in place, and every individual, not just the civil servant, has access to health, education for the children, to housing, things of concern, the basic needs of life, if they are available, each individual in the civil service or in the private sector will focus on his job and do the right thing. But most importantly, the home. The stability of the home is very key. It is said that if the foundation be destroyed, according to the scriptures, what will the righteous do? When you cannot be that. Let's look at the picture of collapsed building that we have in Nigeria today. It's very evident with the infrastructures. But for the individual, for the human being, it takes time for the collapse to be noticed. And everything starts from the home. Where the home is not stable, where we don't have the family system in place, the parents working together to raise the children. The children are a reflection of the family, what they see the parents do. So we must go back to the basics and ensure that the family is intact. The parents must be together. Where the parents are not together, it's the mother that is taking care, the father is away, there is no peace in the home. That's when you have what the children see, the case of domestic violence, of abuse. All these things are offshoot of a failed family system. So if you want a country that works, where competence, character, fairness is in place, and there won't be the issue of because I'm a woman, because I'm not married, that's why I cannot thrive in politics, will be a thing of the past. Thank you.
Ahmed, do you have anything to chip in here?
Well, I'm currently on a campaign trail, so it's important that I actually speak on behalf of the women, especially when it comes to these late night meetings. So when I got into this campaign space, I'm not like the presidential candidate, I'm the vice presidential candidate. And I said one thing, I said we have to run a timetable structure that defines our meeting times. Because we are politicians doesn't mean that we have to come to the office around 3 p.m. Why? I mean, we can come to the office at 8 in the morning. I mean, it's a system, it's a structure. We're trying to run an assignment. If if meetings can hold at 3 in the morning, they can actually hold at 8 in the morning as well. So, it created a lot of stir because for most of the people in the space, they're already used to the lackadaisic attitude, which is what translates into governance eventually. So they get into governance and they're like so reluctant to get to the office. People wake up around 9, stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, and it's 12. And they say, oh, I need to go to the golf course. And they go to the golf course, and then eventually they get to office space around 3. The day is gone. Yeah. So every assignment that would have held 8 hours ago is now moved to 8 hours later, and it falls into the dead of the night. And I know a lot of honest women who work with us, who stay late hours, whose husbands support them as well, who honestly, sincerely just want a better country. So again, there's that stereotype because of the society that we live in, and it's not just peculiar to Nigeria, it's all over the world. Everywhere women find themselves, they're always being accused of not doing the right thing, which is why I'm glad that Madam Rhoda touched on the scriptures, which is so important in all of this, because at the end of the day, the family unit is the basics. And that is why I was born in the late 70s, and so I grew through the 80s with my eyes wide open. I understood what was going on. I can tell you the difference with then and 40 years later, and how people have changed their priorities, what is important, how you are trying to let people understand manners, simple things like thank you, I am sorry, and all of these things are being taught in the house. Now, the house isn't there anymore. It's just a caricature of itself. And that is why some of those problems are happening. And so sometimes, as much as I want to see more women involved in the space, I'm thinking to myself, if we get more women involved in the space, and we all agree that they're the real owners of the home, then who is left in the home?
Thank you so much. We also want to...
Please, can I add to this? There's another stereotype that I just remembered now. And the stereotype in politics with women is that the power brokers are not liberal, and they always give women supporting roles. Deputy governor, assistant this, vice this. Even though those women have been there, they've been serving, they've crossed all these hurdles we've mentioned. These women have been there. But when they're going to give them roles, they'll give them supporting roles. So the power brokers are not liberal, and that has to be addressed.
Thank you. We want to appeal to those who are following us online. If they have any contribution or question or clarification, they can send their questions or those comments. Now, the finance. Prof had attempted to become the president of this country on a number of times. Okay, but one time. Okay, once. Okay. Now, finance has been a very major problem to women aspiring to become something big in politics. The money is available to their male counterpart, but they are not having access to this money, whether genuine or not. So to what extent do you think, now I come to you now, the politician, Ahmed, to what extent do you think finance may have hindered women's aspiration?
Finance is important. I was in Miami yesterday. I flew back into Abuja around 7, 8. And then somehow Nathaniel was on my case. And he said, are you already in Lagos? I said, well, I've not bought my ticket yet. So I'm like, yes, I'm going to come, don't worry. He said, because Professor Remi Sonaya is around. Professor Remi Sonaya is around. You know, and she's somebody I really want to meet as well. So I said, don't worry, brother, I'm going to come. But then, when I called the guy who makes the bookings for us, I said, get me a ticket from this to Lagos and back the same day. I want to come back to Abuja the same day. And he said, okay, there's no money in the account. Anyhow you want to look at this, whether on the big boy levels or the big boys level or the small boys level or on the women's level, there's always scarcity of funds for this kind of projects. Which is why I'm glad that we have technology now. And I think it's a question of what kind of narrative can we formulate right now that can activate the minds of people to truly believe that indeed this is a project for all and not one. And that it's a collective. And that for anybody who wants to aspire or run for any office whatsoever, the community must understand that they are the ones who should raise the resources to put him there. Because that's the only time they can challenge their inefficiencies. But if we are going to sit down and watch them spend and collect from them, each time they do that, each time they give money from their pockets, they have actually paid you for the next 4 years.
Are you talking from experience? I'm telling
you from experience. They've actually paid you for the next 4 years. And that is why when they get into office, the first thing they're thinking of doing is how to recoup all of that money that they spent, and at an interest rate that only they can determine. And at a return of investment time that only they can determine. And then you're so angry that their first 4 years, they didn't do anything. They were just gallivanting, man. They were returning their monies. And then the second year, they start thinking, okay, fine, let us do some projects. And they tell you, I commissioned, I did, I that. Because they already feel they own that space. We are failing to own the space. I tell you, a lot of parties exist. People say, I'm a party member of this party or that party or this party. You have never for once asked, where is the account for dues? This is what should be done. So that by the time you say, I've been paying dues for 15 years, and one rascal comes in and wants to dictate to you how the party should turn, you tell him that, look, I'm a stakeholder here as well. This has got to change. You know? And then the other fundamental thing, apart from the financing, that's so important in this politics. I heard professors speak about the school for politics and all of that. One thing I know for sure, with my experience in the space, I ran for office in 2019. When I started running, I was in my mid-30s, and a lot of people laughed at me and all of that, but I think it's a process. And so wherever I was 8 years ago, it's not the same today. What I know now is different from what I knew then. And frankly speaking, politics cannot be taught. It has got to be learned. You have to go to the ground, the inside, the deep, to understand what it is exactly you are doing. Anything you read on paper will fail you. Because I'll give you an example. I remember this professor who was in Harvard. He was teaching political science. Everybody was excited about him. So much so that back in Canada, where his hometown is, people started to say, come back home, come and run. You're so good at this. He went back home. He put together his kinds. You know, all of us were very highly learned on political science. And according to the statistics, it is the worst ever recorded political campaign election results in the history of Canada. What I'm just trying to say is, it is not a my job. It is a real challenge, and so people who want to get involved must also understand that they need to roll their sleeves. They need to get into it. And I give this analogy people used to tell. I used to tell people sometimes, if you see a pig in the mud, playing with the mud and all of that, and your desire is to get him clean, how do you do it? Somebody said, you get a hose and flush him with the water and clean. I say, he's still in the mud. What do you really do? You actually get into that mud with him, get the pig out, and then you wash both yourselves. This is the only way out. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone here has anything to, or we'll move on?
I'd like to say something.
Okay. Prof has something. Okay, after you, we yield to
I'd like to
Prof.
say something. What I will honestly like to say is that our entire political system needs to be sanitized. Our political psyche needs to be cleaned up. The way we look at politics, the way we look at leadership, the way we look at political position, it needs to begin to change. Otherwise, they can never truly be a place for women. As far as we're talking about funds and finances are concerned. If we look at politics if we continue to see politics as a platform where we need to gather all the money, find all the money, and ensure we get into the position, and then at the end of the day, there has to be a way that we're getting this money back, They were honestly missing it. Leadership.
Prof, let me bring this to you.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to take my brother up on his comment, that politics cannot be taught. Because I had mentioned about our School of Policy, Politics, and Governance. And I think I'll just take up from what my sister just said now. Because this is about changing the mindset. You surely do not believe that the people, that many, if not most, of those running our affairs right now, you surely don't believe that they have the mindset, the right mindset. Are they there to serve? You yourself just told us that they go about giving money to people to vote for them. And that when they get into office, the first thing they want to do is to recoup their money. Those are some of the kinds of issues that we are raising in that school of politics. You don't need to, first of all, get into the, fray to learn that, to recognize that. So apart from, and because, it's localized, we're talking about Nigeria. Some of us who are teaching in that school, we have been there, so we can share real life experiences. Obi Ezekwesili has been there. She ran as a presidential candidate. She knows what she confronted as an aspirant, and indeed as a candidate as well. So it's very practical. Above all, we also have a component of it which we call the capstone project. And that is a hands-on matter. The students choose a very practical thing that they are going to do within a community. So that it's not just, it's not like we are teaching them political science 301 or something like that within the university wall. No, that's not the kind of curriculum that we are running. We are very mindful of where we are and of what the needs in our environment is. Just wanted to be clear that you understand us perfectly. And maybe one of these days I'd like to see you gain admission into our School of Politics.
So I've actually taken a course online with the school. I appreciate the zeal and enthusiasm, and I always try to make people understand that in this political space, right, what is obtainable in Nokotek Bene is different from what is obtainable in Kwantagora.
Precisely.
And you see, when I say politicians even give money, sometimes they do not want to give money. Sometimes, but the people are there to want to collect money. I said when I ran for office, under the Sustainable National Party, they could see that I didn't even have strong beards yet. They could tell that I was really young and I was different. But no matter what we said, look, we're changing all of this. We have to change this. If I give you money today, trust me, if I get into office, blah, blah, blah. We said all the things they wanted to say with regards to mindset, change of mindset. As you are leaving, okay, please, we came here all the way. We need this and we need that. So again, what I'm just saying with regards to money, I don't want us to, there's this belief that all the politicians are bad. It's not exactly so. There are some great guys who have gotten into the space, and because the space was stronger or bigger than them, they came to their knees. When I talked about the civil service structure, I know a lot of people in the executive arm of government, in the legislative arm of government, who will push and push, get the best of ministers to head those ministries. At the end of the day, by themselves, they'll go and kneel down before the PAMSEC. Oga PAMSEC, what do we do? I knew you were going to come back. You know?
You know I've been there too.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been on the campaign trail
Yes.
now. After speaking all the grammar and challenging and things like that, they say, Madam, but taxi fare to go back home.
Exactly.
What are we going to take back to the children at home? So we know all of that. But the thing is, we must work at it. There's work to be done. That is the establishment of the new system. That it's not going to change overnight. These things took a long time to be established. But we have to keep working at it. That is why, for instance, with our school, we are working on a new arm that is called Community SPPG. You said the situation in Ikotekpene is not like the one in Lagos. So things we have to.
I use my hometown.
Yeah.
I say Kwantagora.
So there is work to do. Let's just put it there. Because mindsets don't change easily. So let's not think that this is something that will just,
I agree.
Yeah, so we'll do the work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. You see, in 2019, some group came up with what they call crowdfunding in order to overcome this issue of finance. But along the line, that arrangement broke down.
Can I say something, moderator?
Yeah.
I want to add that there is need to start from our school curriculum, right from the primary school. It is said that if you don't train them, don't blame them. At the stage of the School of Policy and Governance, they are already grown, they've been used to a particular system. The mindset has been formed. But when we start, when they're very young, right from primary school, we should start teaching politics. When we were in the secondary school at the lower class, we were taught civics. And there you were taught the responsibility of the citizens and the responsibilities of government. I was glad when Prof mentioned the Office of the Citizen Initiative. So that initiative should we should start from the primary schools. For the change of mindset, as she rightly said, it's going to happen overnight. So we must start from the scratch. Then start rearing them. And then leadership by example. Those who teach, those who are around them, they must see what we teach, that will live what we teach. Not just do as I say, but do as I do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You see, I think over the years, something has happened to our values. Ahmed rightly said that the home system is gone. There is no more teaching and all that. What we are seeing also is a reflection of what the political class has done to our psyche. They have impoverished the people so much that they find it very difficult to resist even 500 naira to mortgage 4 years of their lives. So nothing can be said here to justify receiving 1 naira or even 1 million naira to vote a wrong person. Let's come back to Prof mentioned 3 things that needed to be done or that must be done in order to get this thing right. Preparing a new breed of political leaders, we can't say that enough. Issue-based campaign and thorough scrutiny. All these points, we are seeing what is happening in the political space. My question now is that, from what you are seeing, can we say we are having issue-based campaign at the moment? Rhoda.
Thank you very much. We need to start all over again if we must do things right. For now, things are not the way they should be. It's not, I've not watched any campaign interview that was issue-based. All we hear these days is the other person is this, the other person is that. Not, okay, not this is what the problem I want to solve. That is what we need to focus on. And until the citizens themselves hold our leaders accountable, things will always go haywire. They must know their rights. There is need for the citizens to be enlightened. There is need for enlightenment to let them know, just like Honorable here said. After speaking all the Turanchi, the English, this is what we want to do. The people will still say, oh, yes, we've heard you, but how do I get back home? My children are hungry. I have a sick mother at home. My husband is sick. My wife is sick. Oh, thank you very much. You said second wife. That's another issue. Like I said earlier on, the family unit has to be fixed. So we must get back to the basics and ensure that the people themselves must enforce that we have debates, that debates are in place. If you don't come out for debate, sorry, we are not going to vote. Thank you.
Yeah, we're taking Dr. Vera 30 seconds. We want to hear, okay. Dr. Vera, please.
Oh,
Okay, Busola, please, I just messed up the name. Busola, please, 30 seconds because we have less than 5 minutes to go.
You know, they say information leads to revelation that leads to transformation. So what the Prof and other people are doing, building people, may be a slow process, but it is a sure process. And if we continue to face Ekpe at 200 miles per hour, we will never get to VI. And so no matter how decadent the system is, there's got to be a crop of people who are dedicated to seeing a change and focusing on that change. And when we get a critical mass, we're going to see change in this country. And some of us, we are committed to that. So even if we have to wade through a lot of this stuff, because there's a lot of poverty in the land. And so poverty will encourage corruption. When people are hungry, they will be corrupt. But eventually, these things will be taken care of. Because what you saw in 2020 is a reality that everybody has a threshold. And we must continue to push until we see a change in this nation.
Thank you so much. Parting words from you.
Okay, so what I'd say is, if, for instance, I'm running a political office, and he is running a political office, Jubril, and Madam Rhoda is running a political office, and the Apostle is running a political office, and then all of us decide that we are not going to go the route of this money politics. The citizens will begin to understand that these politicians are not distributing money again. No. I think it is time for us to begin to choose the right person who will just not give us money for now, but who will ensure that 4 years down the line, we are all happy and comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Now.
Okay, quickly. I heard what you said, and for many of there are 18 presidential candidates in this present race. My presidential candidate, I've not said anything about my party since I started, Mr. Dumebi Kachiku is the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, said, you know what, we're not going to give 1 naira. If you're not going to come support us, if you're not going to come for our town hall meetings until we mobilize you, don't bother. So we started receiving very, very low turnout. And for many other candidates who chose our routes, we started losing steam. And then when you look on the other way, especially those people that we complain about, we see them, their business is good. I just want us to keep thinking about the best of ways, which is why I think I lost my trail of thoughts earlier when I spoke about the advancement of technology and how we can use it to formulate the kind of narrative that we want the people to align with. But finally, you know, and I want to say well done to Professor Remi Shonaya and her keynote address, because it spoke about a lot of issues, even though not all of them were properly closed, which is good because it gives us room for further conversations. It was on our international image. On this international image, I know we're really struggling. And you can see it's because most of the people who leave our shows leave highly disgruntled, which now makes them to either misbehave when they get there or fail to find a place to position themselves when they get there. Then the other issue is about what we say about our system for the rest of the world to hear. Our system is not the best. It's very far away from good. However, it is a work in progress. And the more we go out there to lash ourselves before the international community, the more the international community will reduce our standard whenever they meet us. In 2015, when the current president emerged, there was this uproar of excitement that, yes, we have installed Mr. Integrity. And I remember I had a few travels then, because I was just setting up a financial technology company. I had a few travels then across countries. And anytime I flashed my green passport, which had previously been seen as a problem, Nigeria, welcome, welcome. Because they saw us screaming and saying we were excited. So now that we now change that narrative to like, man, this is hell on earth. You know, so hell, you hell resident, come here, move there, and they treat you how you want to be treated. We must understand that anytime you expose the lapses in your home, your family, about your wife, your children, your husband, it is exactly how your friends that you are telling and your neighbors would rate you. Let's change that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so very much. It has been a worthwhile session. I must have to thank you, Dr. Vera Busola, and sorry, let me get my this is so that and Rhoda and Ahmed, the politician, and we wish you a very resounding success, yeah. And also a businessman. So thank you. It has been a worthwhile, and the prayer of every Nigerian, sincere Nigerian, is that the country will turn around one day, and it will take every activity of all of us here, positive activities, to turn our country around the way we want to see it. Thank you, Prof, for taking the pains to come all the way from your base to this place. We cannot thank you enough for that. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Please, let's appreciate them. Let's celebrate them. That was mind-blowing, educating. I believe some of us, we have been able to unlearn and relearn on some issues. One thing I want us to take away at the end of the day is that we can only build the country together. If we keep saying some people will build Nigeria, then we have not gotten to where we are going to. We all must join hands together to build this country. Before we move forward, I would like to correct, I mispronounced some names earlier. I understand that I was calling Apostle Busola Bukola. Sorry, that was what was written for me. So I'm very sorry, Apostle Bukola. Busola, sorry, Apostle Busola, not Bukola, Busola. And then Dr. Vera, I was calling you Vero. Sorry, that's the O that was written before. So Vera, sorry. Uzo Amaka, really appreciate you, ma'am. Thank you very much. All right, so before we continue, it is not possible for us to have a king in our midst, even though he is represented, and not hear from him. So I'd like to call on High Chief Lekon Bakari to come and give us a word from the palace. Please, let's appreciate him. Let's celebrate him. A round of applause. High Chief, please. Thank
you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gani Olaliko Bakere. I'm the Aruoba Elekwishi of Ikate Kingdom, representing His Royal Majesty Oba Said Ademola Elekwishi, who is unavoidably absent today. Kabisi sends his greetings, he sends his well wishes to you all. You know, just the topic, it's been very interesting. I sat there and I've been listening keenly to the speakers, the ideas and your opinions, and it's very important. The role of women in our lives, for we men, you can't comprehend it, you can't even describe it, because it's everything. And that same way is the role of women in politics. Sadly, in this part of the world, you know, our mothers have always been the ones to carry the burden, and they're also the ones to take the trash, if I should put it that way. But at the end of the day, we men always run back to our mothers and our wives. You know, even though they say women is not, they find it difficult being involved in politics. But hardly would you find a politician who's got a wife at home and the wife is not partaking in that politics or in his office or whatever. So it's something that I'm quite encouraged, and I pray that the future generation, because they are the ones we need to talk to, the young ones, this message here, it needs to be conveyed to the classrooms. I'm an advocate for climate change, and I have my own climate change. I have my own NGO, the Lake Bakare Foundation. We're focused very much on SDG 14, life below water. Yes, in as much as we do focus on the other SDG goals, our message about recycling, about the importance of you know, us caring for our marine life, the importance of the issues we're seeing today being confronted by climate change in our coastal areas. You know, our message, we take it to schools, particularly primary schools, because it's very difficult for us in our generation now. You know, when you tell people to recycle, for example, people, it's automatic reaction. You see people drink plastic bottle and they chuck it out of the window. But when we catch the young ones and you tell them that that is wrong, you know, that change has to begin there. The better Nigeria we're talking about, the future, you know, the Nigeria we want to see, we might not see it in our own time. But this generation that is coming is where we need to invest in, is where we need to focus on. And this message, just like you said, I see someday a female governor, especially here in Lagos. It is possible. We've had very strong women, from Mrs. Bucknor to so many very, very strong women that are in politics or were in politics. And I mean, they have every qualification to become governor. I think if it's going to happen in Nigeria, it's going to happen first in Lagos State. And I think it's, you know, being a Lagosian myself is something I would love to see. But I think that we need to pass this message. We need to talk about this with the younger ones. We need to encourage them to get involved in politics. Politics is not about, you know, like when you talk about bribery and spending of money. I could relate with so many of you. I could relate with the young honorable here, because at some point in my own life, I also ran for office. And I have my own experiences I had, because then I actually relocated back to Nigeria. That was before I became a White Cap chief. I relocated back to Nigeria, and I saw situation of things, especially in my local government in Apapa, where I grew up. I attended Corona School Apapa at a young age, and it was completely different. And I felt that the way I could do it, I could, you know, make a change, was to probably be in governance. And going around talking to people, you know, at some point you start hearing things like, this Sheshede, Ture Shilos, Abi Sheshede, just speaking English. This is Tilo Iboni, this is not local, this thing. You know, so many, I would say, demeaning, you know, thoughts, opinions, and but it encouraged me the more. I didn't win the office, but ended up being the secretary to the local government. And it wasn't easy. trying to talk to people about the importance of having basic things like internet was very difficult. But, you know, one thing I did learn from this whole thing was that the future generation, they play a strong role in the development of this country. And they are our target. They are the people we need to target. I don't know, you know, that saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks, but we should teach new dogs new tricks. And so I want to encourage you all, I want to applaud you all, and I want to thank you all for the opportunity for having me here, for having His Royal Majesty here. And in any way we, the Palace, could support, we will support. Congratulations on the book, and we wish you all the very best. And at the same time, we're in the December month, the last month of the year. I want to say Merry Christmas in advance to everybody. And, you know, by the special grace of God, we won't go with the year. We will see many, many Decembers, many years to come in good health, in peace for us and our families. Thank you.
Royal applause, royal applause, royal applause. Aha. Thank you, sir. If you had not said it, I would have asked the question, because the way you're speaking, you didn't speak as if you are in Lagos. So when you told us you came back from abroad, I knew it's good to have your answer. Thank you very much. All right, so I want to do something very quickly now. It's part of the reason why we are here, and that is to review the book written by the man who brought all of us here, Nathaniel. So I'm going to call on Mr. Benga Taiwo to come and review the book, God's Diamond, called Woman. Ha! God's Diamond. Men in call. We too, we are, what are we? We are God's gold, are we? Aha. So the Diamond Cup. Please let us give him a round of applause, please. Thank you.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. The representative of the Royal Majesty and our panelists. It's good to have you, and really thank God for having you here this afternoon. Okay. Actually, I'm a man, and I'm doing the review for this book, which is a very interesting book, having gone through the e-copy, which is available now. And the title is God's Diamond, called Woman, which I listened to Prof when Prof was talking, and going to review the book, I thought, okay, I think the synergy between this book and Prof's talk seems, you cannot just separate the two of them. So I'm just going to do a little of adding to what she has said, because it looks like she's actually doing the review of the book written by the publisher, Nathaniel Aigbe. The title is God's Diamond, called Woman. I think if we go through this book, it makes it very easy. And I'm going to do much of my time on this review is going to be on the foreword that is written by Archbishop Dr. Ellen Ruth Onwu Dokeno, who actually did the foreword for the book. If we'll go through the foreword, then we will know that this is a book that is worth reading by not just the women. Because when I saw the book, I thought, okay, maybe this book is for my wife and for people who are women. Because I know, okay, women are God's diamond, but maybe this is for women. But when going through it, then I understand women the more. I understand the value of women more, and then we appreciate them the more. So it's actually a 523 pages book. 523 pages is what is in the book. And when you start reading this book, you will surely not know that you're actually reading 523 pages book, because I am actually expecting, I said, I'm going to talk to him that there is a need for him to do a sequel to the book, because even going through it, there is need more to talk about, because each of the chapter in the book is like a book on its own. So the book is actually dedicated to two diamonds, and which I think it's deservedly so. Two of our diamonds who have gone to be with the Lord, two diamonds who are Stella Adadevoh. We all know the story of Stella Adadevoh and her heroic way of helping not just Lagos State, but helping the whole Nigeria in the time of Ebola crisis. So this book is actually dedicated to her, and also to another Amazon, Dr. Dora Akoili, how he helped us, oh Lord, to fight, how he helped us so much to fight the drug cases in NAFDAC and also practice in nation building. And just like I said, the foreword, which is written by Archbishop Dr. Ellen Roots Onwu Dokenu, is the primate for the Netherlands and the co-general overseer for Rivers of Life Bible Church worldwide. He is a well-known person both in the faith and also in public speaking. So he did a lot of wonderful work in the foreword of the book. And just like I said, I would like to read the foreword because I think the review she did on the foreword will go a long way for us to see how wonderful this book is. She writes, and I'm going to just read what she wrote. She said, I like this book, and I'm honored to write this foreword. Also, I like the fact that God has used an African man to write such an elaborate piece about the woman, and the African women for that matter. There is no denying, especially the African woman in particular, over many centuries has been denied their due credit and rightful place in our unjust world. In some cases, women have been disenfranchised simply on the basis of their God-assigned gender. Just because this is the gender and they are women, there are a lot of prejudice already created for them, according to the foreword. It said this has been especially so in African culture. Through the dominance of the male gender, it is therefore quite heartwarming to see an African man extol not only the virtue, beauty, and elegance, but also the mental, spiritual, and the amazing natural endowments of the woman. In fact, this author has done well in truly labeling the woman as costly and precious as a diamond gift. She continues and she writes and said, I consider this book a true game changer. And why so? I believe that it is going to help correct the general perception of the African woman by their male counterparts, and also by themselves, more importantly, thereby helping them gain a stronger bargaining position in every sphere of life and to stop doubting themselves. It used to be that when fathers were blessed with only daughters, they bemoaned it as though it was a curse. They believed that sons were better. Anyone who reads this book will discover the amazing gift and blessing that women indeed are. Then, notable also is that fact that the author has dedicated his book to two illustrious ladies who fearlessly gave their lives in service to humanity. Dr. Stella Ameyo Adadevo, who helped stop the spread of Ebola in Nigeria, and Mrs. Dora Nkem Akoili, who risked her life while taking on the fake drugs cartel in Anambra State and in Nigeria as a whole. Then she says, I could not help but agree more with how the author reveals God's purpose for creating the woman in chapter 1. He asserts the woman indeed is God's greatest gift to man, and that the man would indeed never be complete. Just like the royal father said, the man would never be complete without the woman in her life. The rhetorical questions this author asks, therefore, are quite poignant. Like, what happens? What happiness can a man possibly get at a social event without the presence of a woman with him? Can the perpetual sacred gatherings of men be full of life, be full of happiness, without the presence of women? Without exaggerating, it can be said that the world would have been tasteless, chaotic, lonely, incomplete without women. Man was created because God wanted him, but God created the woman because the man needed her. Then, in the chapter 2, beautifully he captured, Nathaniel Aigbe captures the preciousness of the woman. Here, the author reviews how the emotional attributes of the woman sets her apart and graces naturally so well. In fact, her emotions are her natural makeup. She cries naturally whenever she is affected by either something negative or positive. The compassion of the woman is another beautiful trait portrayed by this author. The display of a woman's compassion has made the difference in the saving of destruction of many lives. The historical and biblical story of Moses, the prince of ancient Egypt, establishes and tells this all. A woman's compassion act may be considered as that powerful divine endowment which enables her to cope with the many physiological and emotional phases she goes through in life. How would they be coping without the trait of compassion in their nature? Then, calling a woman God's diamond may be an understatement, even after reading through this book, because she says so many sides to her personality. The book explains so many sides of the personality of woman, and the foreword, the person who wrote the foreword, Dr. Helen Root, said, I consider this, that it is even an understatement to say a woman is God's diamond. If there is any other precious thing higher than that, which definitely are, then we should call them that. In forwarding this book, she said, I am filled with much joy and gratitude, knowing that it will be a blessing to this generation and beyond. And she says, just like I am also saying, I highly recommended this book to be read by all and a must for the bookshelf of every home. That's the foreword written by Archbishop Dr. Ellen Root Onwu Doken. So this actually do a lot of justification, because not far from exactly me going through the book. And the writing style of the book is what I love so much. The writing style of the publisher is such a very relatable style. And personally, I call it living through the book. I call it a style of living through the book. It's a style that when you read it, it's as if you are in a movie, in a setting where you can relate with the book. And so it's an easy to comprehend style, and then it's recommended for all ages. In fact, okay, even for children in the high schools, in the junior high schools and the rest, they could relate with many of the book as a whole. Each chapter of the book, like I said in the beginning, is a book on its own. It's something that could be expanded and more could be written about them. There is a part of the book that is so interesting, and that's like from the pages 510 to pages 527, where the publisher, the writer, did a lot of a modeling. It gives a lot of models of leadership of women for people to ponder on and see how women have been excellent leaders by natural means, so to say. Because he gives the example of calling them the helpmeet in the Bible. He was able to break down what they says Eve was a helpmeet. Because for someone like me, I thought what that simply means is that somebody needed help, and God just said, okay, you are, okay, I just need, like, I'm sorry to say, my wife is there. I just feel that you just need somebody to be helping you. But the writer was able to break it down like you are bringing a partner in progress to the man. And the partnership in progress is not that somebody is far lower and is the one serving the other, but someone that comes together to make the purpose to be better. So that's a lot of expose in the book. Then he also talks about setting goals, that women naturally set goals without even writing them down. It's just like natural. They know what they want to achieve. They know what their family wants to look like. And so if we transport this and we bring this into leadership, then we are going to have leaders who knows what to do from the get-go. The book also talks about another model of accomplishment, the way women set accomplishment, how they accomplish their goals in a non-traditional way, so to say. The way it's also something that is very interesting. Then he also brought the concept of baby management, how women manages baby. It's like what Prof said when Liberia came back from the war. The people were able to identify we need someone who can nurse back the nation after a lot of years of war. So the writer was able to talk about how women naturally, without writing down what we call work instruction in my place of work. There is no manual, but this seems to be something they develop, how they nurture baby from the fragile time of the baby till the baby grows up and they can stand on their own. And that's one other concept that he talked about. And then I was able to look that truly, if we go through this talk about the baby management, then we will appreciate women the more. In fact, women will appreciate themselves reading through this part of the book. And also, it talks about the home management, the economics that the women brings into the home. And then I know that in Nigeria today, there is a lot of talk about let's move from consumption to production or something like that. This is what women practice naturally from their home, how they manage home in the times of plenty, in the times of scarcity, and the rest of them. They just switch to some of these roles naturally. You don't need to wake them up. They know how to switch from role to role. So these are wonderful things that are in this book, and I just like Archbishop Dr. Helen said, that is strongly recommended for all ages, not just for us, and also as a book that needs to be on the bookshelf of most of us in our house. The book made clear distinction. Then towards the end of the book, because it's the same thing that I was looking at, I said, okay, probably this book is more about, okay, the feminist movement and the gender equality. So the writer was trying to say what Prof said during the keynote address, that the book made clear distinctions on purpose-driven qualification and interest to participate in leadership by women. That the book made it clear that this is not a campaign for gender inequality. It's not a gender equality campaign, but also promoting the fact that it made a clear distinctions between purpose-driven qualification and interest to participate in leadership. So, it's a wonderful book written by Nathaniel Aigbe. I learned that the e-copy is available, if I'm correct, because I know I got this advanced copy, and I recommend it strongly, just like Archbishop Dr. Ellen said. I recommend for every one of us to read this book and appreciate the kind of wonderful works God has done or is doing in the life of women. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I think he deserves more than that. Okay, so how many of us are anticipating getting our copy? Okay. So we are going to get our copies very soon. But in the meantime, the author of the book has a word for us. I'm going to invite Nathaniel Aigbe to come and introduce another initiative, his own baby. He calls it Initiative for the Actualization of Female Political Leadership in Nigeria. I believe he will be able to talk more about this. He says it's an NGO, and please let us listen and welcome Nathaniel Aigbe as he talks about the new baby. A round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chief Bakari. You are welcome, sir. And you are representing His Royal Majesty. So I will say, Kabiyesi, sir. We are honored by your presence. Thank you so much, my dear friend. I would just like to summarize because the time is fast spent. And what we are doing today is just it's the first leg of what we intend to achieve. It's not just for women. For us as a nation, we all agree that women have what to give. So today we should have been talking about the launch of the book, but I rather will talk about an initiative to ensure that we elect female as governors in 2027. If we don't make it to 2023, because we have only one female in Adamawa State. Now we are floating an organization to be known as Initiative for the Actualization of Female Political Leadership in Nigeria. What we intend to do is to inspire women. A lot of women have what it takes. They want to come on, but they are afraid. We want to speak for them. We want to recognize them. We want to counsel them. Because I have been reporting politics for over a decade, so we understand how politicians think. We understand what you can say to them, to make their heart to be open to you. So in that, with that NGO, we intend to gather political parties together, particularly at the state level, to canvass, to recommend women that can win election in all the states in Nigeria, to say how do we support them. Not just, we want women to come out in their numbers, but in their integrity as well. So we don't want women that will do something that people say. It's not, they say women that have proven character, whether they are singles or married, and they are plenty outside there. Nigeria doesn't lack that kind of women. So today I'm presenting to you that initiative to drive this agenda, and we're already talking to people, and we intend to have both local and international people as trustee of that NGO to advise us, to counsel us, to advocate for female political leadership, to speak up. Also encourage women, for what I'm hearing, that a lot of women face sexual exploitation, sexual harassment. People want to ask, for sex, for whatever thing they believe they are asking, the woman is asking for. We want to encourage them to come out and speak. And we also want to identify men, political figures who are doing that. We want to identify them. We want to harass them publicly. We intend to issue press release, But basically, we are looking for how we can use women as instruments, of great resource managers to change the narrative of our woes. And we want to do that, yes, like somebody has said, that why are we limiting them to the level of governorship? We must start somewhere. And we need to convince, if we manage the state resources very well, we'll be able to market the idea for Nigeria that women want to be president. That's why our focus mainly is just at that level, to say, okay, look at what they have done at the state level now, but we know Nigerian ladies can do it anywhere. They are already showing it in different sectors of the economy where you have level playing field. That they are capable is not a question. But we have a system that we must find a way to defeat it. We must find a way to either infiltrate that system by bringing women in, by encouraging more women to come up. I don't know why INEC told us that 75% of voters in 2023 are women and youth. How come we don't have more women vying for office? So we want to confront that issue. We want to stand behind them. And also men like Mr. Amen Buhari, who are very supportive of female political participation. We will be recognizing them. Those who have done well, we will give them an award to encourage others to speak up in favor, because it's actually in our own interest. Some of us have sacrificed to be in this country. We could have been running away like a lot of people are doing by virtue of our job, but we are suffering the pain to be here to contribute. So we cannot, enough of folding arms and complaining. And so I'll be soliciting for your help, whatever advice you can give to ensure this initiative become a reality and make the necessary impact. And we already have the political wisdom. And by the grace of God, I've actually counseled some politicians who ended up becoming commissioners in states by leaving their private sector to go into politics. Say, do this, say this, go here, go there. They were able to make it. And for women, we would like to first, those who show interest, they can reach out to the website. We send it's confidential. They are interested in this position, and we can be giving counseling at the right time. We can now encourage them to declare their interest. So I rather will talk about that, because mainly it's not about the book. The book here, I have known that long after I would have exited this world, this book will still be selling itself. I have no doubt about the book that it will sell. So I'm not concerned about making money from the book, but my main concern is that we must allow women to play that role that God has created them to play, because they are helpers. So as men, we need to acknowledge it. We need to humble ourselves that we have great resources in women. Women, they are not just for the kitchen and the other room. In America, where they are doing well, and the Angela Merkel in Germany, until recently we know what she did in Germany. And these women are not as smart as Nigerian women. So in this series, we still be writing books. Next to this book is the Diary of the Nigerian Woman. We intend to take a critical look how Nigerian woman has been shaping, but we don't acknowledge it. So thank you for coming. And whatever way you can encourage us to drive this initiative, whether by being part of it or recommending us, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Nathaniel. I'll still need to call you back because we have gotten to the last part of the program now, presentation of awards and recognition, and then closing remarks and vote of thanks. So please, for the last time today in this event, I'll call out Mr. Nathaniel again to come and wrap this up for us. Please let us encourage him. Let us appreciate him.
I actually feel guilty of keeping great personalities like yourself here. I'm very, very sorry. Just about women, what they can do. I'm passionate about Nigeria. I believe so much in this country. I've had situations where people wanted to fight me in the bus, but for just saying it's a great country, because people have lost hope in this country. But we should not lose hope, because this country is a great country. So to this effect, like I said, one of the things we'll be doing is recognizing those who are encouraging female leadership, political leadership. That's our focus. And so I would like to have the privilege of giving this certificate. This certificate is just for photograph. We will take it home, we will put it in the frame, and we will bring it back to the recipient. I would like to first call on my very dear friend and an advocate of female political leadership in Nigeria, in the person of Ahmed Buhari. And he is a vice presidential candidate for the African Democratic Congress, ADC. He's a voice of female political leadership award, and we want to thank you for, for me, it's 100% when it comes to the issue of women. I invited a lot of people. Look at the women that came. So why wouldn't I be passionate about women? KBC is here, and you are here. Except two of you are my boss, who came from business day. Other people we have here were mainly women. So we want to thank you for the role you play. And then you are one candidate that I know if women vote for you, when they vote for you, that you will not fail them, because this is a female event. You flew in from Abuja this morning. There was no story. You arrived here. I want to say thank you for making it. It's a recognition of your support for the promotion of female leadership in Nigeria that you have been recognized today.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, Prof, she's really a mother. It's because of Professor Remin that we are here today. I had every cause to postpone this event. I need 2.5 million is a big money for this event. Bank was ready to give me. But they said it's politics. They withdrew. Another one said postpone it. I said, no, this year's event. We must do it. I don't want to mention it. But that's a conversation for another day, because it's a non-partisan political conversation. Why should corporate be... It's not... That's another conversation. But, man... It's a male MD. Now, Prof is like a mom. Since I met her, she's gentle, she's kind, she's considerate, she's she's considerate. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for being an exemplary political, female leadership in Nigeria. It's because of your doggedness, what you believe, your aspiration.
It's okay.
Okay, man. Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
God
man.
bless you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Arab Barrister Dotun Hassan is not around. He's talking. The travel too was coming from Abuja like yourself. But I want to, on his behalf, he's always available to speak. When the governor is attacking a female politician, he will come out and speak. It's always everywhere. This Oladoko is not here. His Peter is not here. In fact, he was one of those that told me, don't change because I was tempted to change the team because I need the money for the event. He said, no, stay on course. But he's not here today. So I would like us to applaud Mr. Barrister Dotun Hassan. He's the Global President, Yoruba Council Worldwide, for being a voice of female political leadership in Nigeria. Now the last but not the least, Ola Yeluwa Said Ademola, the Consulatory Elegushi of the Kati Kingdom, for his philanthropic support towards female leadership development. I went to read about him, and I see all the things he's doing and to promote women, to encourage women. Sad, we are grateful. We like what he's doing, and we know he's a young leader like ourselves, and we can see, we read what he's doing. And we are expecting more from him, and we'll be taxing him more to support us in this effort to elect females as governors in Nigeria. And we are honored by his presence, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I think that's the last of it. Okay. Oh. Votes of thanks. Okay. But, sir, we have, there's a cake here. When we send the invitation cards out, somebody saw it and they said she wants to bring cake for the speaker and the panelists. And then she also wants to bring cake for His Royal Majesty. So she's here now, and she didn't charge us. We said, what is it going to cost us? She said, don't give us anything. We will just bring the cake for the panelists and for Oba Elegushi. Where's the man? Please come aside and be part of the presentation of presenting this cake to the recipient. Move fast. Time is fast spent. Madam Vera, you can help us to receive the cake on behalf of the panelists and speaker, because this one, she specifically mentioned, she's bringing in for the panelists and the speakers. Put your hand there.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Makati, for this very kind gesture. These are the kind of Nigerians that we're looking for. People who will do things more out of sacrifice than out of personal benefit. And on behalf of Initiative for Actualization of Female Political Leadership in Nigeria, ably represented by Mr. Nathaniel, we should say a big thank you. And we're receiving this cake on behalf of the panelists. Thank you very much. Okay. We have another very big and beautiful one. We're also receiving this cake.
Sir.
Okay, please come this way, ma. Once again, thank you, ma, for this cake. And on behalf of the Initiative for the Actualization of Female Political Leadership in Nigeria, we received this cake for Oba Elegushi. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bless you.
MC. Hello, sir.
Yeah, this man. To have your vote of thanks, and then we wrap it up with the national anthem. Yeah, just vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'm just so grateful. Ma, I'm grateful. Thank you for the mom you have been, Professor Remin. You have been a mom. You have been in the special. I'm not known for exaggeration of singing. It's for your sake that we are here today, because I couldn't cancel it. Your commitment was too strong for me to say, I cannot do that. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, Madam Vera, my dear friend. You can always count on me. Thank you for your support. His Royal Highness, Majesty, we thank you for coming. Pastor Peter, thank you. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you for coming. And we pray that as you're journeying back to your respective destination, that the good God will take you home and you meet your family in peace. Thank you so much.
All right, please let us give him a round of applause. Before we stand for the national anthem, I want to use this opportunity to also want us all to encourage this man. You can see he's not too, because of the number of people here, he's not too happy. But let me tell you something, bro. This is just the beginning. It can only get better. So be encouraged. You have started something. I want to tell you, don't give up on it. It's a journey of many years, and you will keep going. You have started. There is no going back anymore. So don't be discouraged by the number of people you have here. You may not have the crowd, but you have quality. And that quality will continue to speak for you. So encourage yourself, and it will get better by the next edition. Thank you very much. Shall we rise for the national anthem, please? Okay, I think this time around we are going to sing it as real Nigerians. Are we ready? Okay. What, before the national anthem, we are going to sing this second stanza. Who agrees with me? Okay, the second stanza and then the national pledge. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, go. God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide all our leaders right, help our youths the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in just and peace. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. The pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God. I want you to keep that pledge as you go out. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you.